Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a beautiful girl named Cinderella. She had sparkling blue eyes, golden hair, and a heart full of kindness. Cinderella lived happily with her loving parents until her mother fell ill and passed away. Soon after, her father remarried a woman with 2 daughters, Anastasia and Drizella. Little did Cinderella know, her life was about to change. As time passed, Cinderella's stepmother revealed her true nature. She became cold-hearted and treated Cinderella like a servant, while showering her own daughters with love and attention. Poor Cinderella had to do all the chores in the house, from sweeping the floors to scrubbing the dishes, while her stepsisters lazed around and mocked her. One day, an invitation arrived at their door. The royal palace was hosting a grand ball, and all the maidens in the kingdom were invited. Cinderella's heart skipped a beat as she dreamed of attending the ball. Her stepmother, however, had other plans. "Ball? Ha! You're nothing but a servant girl," her stepmother sneered. "You won't be going anywhere." Cinderella couldn't help but feel a wave of sadness wash over her. But deep down, she held on to a glimmer of hope that her dreams would come true. As the day of the ball approached, Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters busied themselves with preparations. They tried on beautiful gowns, adorned themselves with jewels, and practiced their dance moves. Cinderella watched from a distance, longing to be a part of the enchantment. In her attic room, with tears in her eyes, Cinderella whispered a wish. "Oh, I wish I could go to the ball and meet the prince. If only I had a beautiful dress to wear." To her surprise, a shimmering light filled the room, and a gentle voice echoed, "Your wish shall be granted, my dear." Cinderella turned around and gasped as she saw a beautiful fairy godmother standing before her. The fairy godmother had a kind smile and a twinkle in her eyes. "Fairy godmother, is it really you?" Cinderella asked, her voice filled with hope. "Yes, my child. I have come to make your dreams come true. But remember, the magic will only last until midnight," the fairy godmother warned. Using her magical powers, the fairy godmother transformed Cinderella's tattered rags into a magnificent gown. It was made of the finest silk, adorned with pearls and delicate lace. With a wave of her wand, she conjured glass slippers that sparkled in the moonlight. "Go, my dear Cinderella. Enjoy the ball, but be sure to return before the clock strikes 12, the fairy godmother advised. Cinderella stepped into the magical pumpkin carriage, which had been transformed from an ordinary pumpkin. As she rode towards the palace, her heart filled with anticipation. When Cinderella arrived at the ball, everyone was captivated by her beauty. The prince himself couldn't take his eyes off her. He approached her and asked, "May I have this dance?" Cinderella blushed and nodded. They danced and talked throughout the night, as if they were the only ones in the room. Cinderella felt like she was floating on a cloud, her worries and troubles left behind. But as the clock struck midnight, Cinderella's heart sank. She knew she had to leave. "I'm sorry, Prince. I must go," she said with a hint of sadness. The prince tried to stop her, but Cinderella rushed down the stairs, leaving behind one of her glass slippers. As she ran through the palace gardens, her beautiful gown turned back into rags, and the pumpkin carriage transformed into a pumpkin once again. The next day, the prince couldn't stop thinking about the mysterious girl he had danced with. He decided to find her, no matter what it took. He called upon his royal guards and ordered them to visit every house in the kingdom, asking the young maidens to try on the glass slipper. The guards arrived at Cinderella's house, and her stepsisters eagerly tried to squeeze their feet into the delicate slipper. But it was no use, the slipper simply wouldn't fit. Cinderella watched from a distance, her heart pounding with anticipation. She knew the slipper was meant for her. "Is there anyone else in the house?" one of the guards asked. Cinderella's stepmother hesitated for a moment, then coldly replied, "Oh, just our servant girl. She's of no importance." "Bring her here immediately," the guard insisted. Cinderella approached, her stepsisters scoffing and snickering. As she slipped her foot into the glass slipper, it fit perfectly, as if it had been made just for her. The prince, who had been waiting outside, burst into the room with a mix of excitement and relief. "I have found my true love," he declared, gazing at Cinderella with adoration. Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters were left in shock and disbelief as the prince took Cinderella's hand and placed the other glass slipper on her foot. "I choose you, Cinderella. Will you marry me?" the prince asked, his eyes filled with love. Cinderella's heart overflowed with joy as she replied, "Yes, my prince. I will be honored to be your wife." And so, Cinderella and the prince were married in a grand ceremony. The kingdom rejoiced, and Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters learned the error of their ways. They realized that true beauty lies within, and they too started to show kindness and compassion. Cinderella and the prince ruled the kingdom with love and fairness, always remembering the lessons they had learned. They lived happily ever after, their love story becoming a legend told for generations to come. The tale of Cinderella teaches us that even in the face of adversity, kindness, courage, and believing in our dreams can lead us to a happily ever after.